Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. When was the last time you just read or came across an article, excluding today, when a journalist, whatever journalist, French, Romanian, American, Ukrainian, Russian, was killed or injured, wounded in Ukraine? I can tell you when was the last time when I heard and I read an article, and I read daily, at least 3 times a day, about 4 Ukrainian outlets and about 3 Russian outlets and all the other panoply of the British media, English media, and whatever comes around. French, Agence France Presse, Deutsche Welle. Every day I'm going over all this. So I'm online a few hours reading articles and going after titles, headlines. And last time I remember one was killed was that guy, remember, in St. Petersburg, Tomikov, Tamakumov, Tarchenkov, remember the propagandist? There was Russian propagandist that was blown up in that bar, restaurant. Remember when he had that little meeting? He was whatever he was, blogger, something. He was blown up. That was the last time when a journalist was killed. Guess what? Today, 2 of them were killed. 2 of them in the same day. You know what? By the same weapon, by the same munition, cluster munition, mind you. You can't make shit up. Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't think so. And I'm gonna show you with hours, based on the chronology of events, the way I see the articles. Maybe there are some articles over there, but I couldn't find the ones that could, how should I put it, challenge whatever I'm going to state here. So, the Americans gave Ukraine cluster munition. Are we agreeing with that? Yeah. They used it the first time, I think, yesterday. The Russians today came with an article. A Russian Sputnik correspondent was killed by cluster munitions, and I think 3 or 4 other guys around him, journalists, were injured, burned from the cluster munition. Today. Then later today, we find out Reuters coming out and say, wait a second, a Deutsche Welle cameraman was also injured. In the same day. And you know by what? The cameraman from Deutsche Welle? Russian cluster munition. Can you make shit up? No. It's unbelievable. And then we have, as a chronology of events, the Ukrainians picking up on the Reuters and saying, hey, yes, Deutsche Welle cameraman injured by Russian cluster munition. You can't, and I have here 3 articles, one from Sputnik, one from Reuters, yes, and one from Ukraine Forum, yeah. And you're gonna see how weasels are. I'm not gonna say who. I'll let you decide that. So let's go and start with Sputnik. So this is, look at the time, 10 hours ago. 10 hours ago. Right now here is 4:30. Let's say 4:30 p.m. Okay, 10 hours ago. Sputnik journalist dies from cluster bomb wounds during evacuation, Russian Defense Ministry. All right, here he is, poor guy. The Russian Defense Ministry said the 4 journalists received wounds of varying degrees of severity as a result of the Ukrainian strike with cluster munitions. It's also coincidental that, if you remember, the Ukrainians vowed that they will not use the cluster munition on civilians and they will be very, very, very careful what they're gonna hit. Now the Russians come up with this. I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know if it's indeed cluster munition destroyed this guy or not. But the fact that the other side shows up with an article immediately after these guys, oh yeah, but they died, but you killed one too. Like 2 wrongs make it right, but they try to cover their shit. It's because the Zelenskys said to the other Zelenskys in America, we're not going to use them on civilians, we'll be very careful, promise, cross my heart, hope to die. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. Sputnik journalist Rostislav Zuravlev died during evacuation from injuries caused by cluster submunition explosion, the Russian Defense Ministry said on Saturday. Today, the journalists shelled by Ukrainian artillery forces were promptly evacuated to field medical facilities of the Russian Defense Ministry, where they are receiving qualified medical assistance. During the evacuation, this guy, a journalist with a Sputnik news agency, died from injuries caused by a cluster submunition explosion, end quote, the ministry said. We cannot, we can assume, but maybe 1%, that the Russians did it to themselves. That's not impossible. The problem is, if that would have happened, Ukrainians would have come and say, no, 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 we didn't even use it over there. We used it somewhere else. They would say, no, no, no. But they came with another story. So they didn't deny that one. Probably they did. Oh, it was not us. But look what you did over there. They didn't have to promote the other thing, like a balance. They just say, no, it was not us. No, 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 we were very, very careful. And the Russians destroyed their own. Or maybe it's a lie, and we're never going to find out. How are you going to find out? How are you going to find out that guy was indeed killed? I'm not going to waste my time or spend my time trying to figure out if that indeed died. Look through the Russian records to see if that guy died and he's from there and he's the parent of this. I'm not going to do that. That's other guys are going to do that. They get paid for that. And they are doing that micro. I'm doing the macro thing. So let's keep going here. So this is what these guys say, okay? Now we're going to go to this, Reuters. You see the time here? 4 hours ago, updated, and it's 12:11 p.m. I refreshed this. This is where they say it came. 4 hours ago. Now, Sputnik came 10 hours ago, updated 5 hours ago. So here in the Reuters, there's no way for me to find out when was, but look how this tried to be balanced. War reporter's death prompts Russian outrage over Ukraine's alleged use of cluster bombs. A lot of empathy here for the fellow journalists from Reuters, as you can tell. I'm going to read you the first paragraph of these weasels, and then the second one is going to nullify the first one. right there. A Russian war reporter was killed and 3 were wounded in Ukraine on Saturday in what the defense ministry said was a Ukrainian attack using cluster munitions, prompting outrage from Moscow. I would say prompting outrage from the world, but hey, you guys don't seem to care. And the second second paragraph is, in a separate incident, coincidence. German broadcaster Deutsche Welle said one of his journalists, Yevgeny Shilko, had been wounded elsewhere in Ukraine in a Russian attack with, guess what? Cluster munitions that killed a Ukrainian soldier. It said his life was not in danger. My friends, what did I ask you at the beginning of this video? When was the last time you heard one journalist being killed or injured? I told you when it was mine a few months ago, and I think I'm watching news. I don't know how much you watch, but I think I'm watching 50 times more than a regular person on this planet, which is just scrolling and maybe scrolling one and that's it. Okay? These guys, 2 incidents, similar incidents with the same ammunition, with the same bombs. Oh my God, on the opposite sides. They think we're infantile, and they are. They are. Look how they vote. Yes, I said it. I don't care. Let's move on. Let's see. We got another evidence here. Now this comes from Ukrinform. These are the Ukrainians. It's from 8 o'clock p.m. on the 22nd of what's this? July 2023. Now 8 o'clock. What time is in Kiev? It's 11:44 p.m. So this was written what? 4 hours ago or so? No? 4 hours ago. So this article here was written 4 hours ago. This one with Reuters 4 hours ago. The Russians 10 hours ago. So obviously these guys came first. These guys did cover. And these guys said, oh, we're going to cover as well. And they say here, Evgeny Sliko, cameraman working for Deutsche Welle, was injured on Saturday when Russian forces fired cluster munitions at the training ground of the armed forces of Ukraine in Okay? So, I don't know, maybe you got some other information. This is my information that I found. And I tried to find, how should I put it? I tried to cut them some slack. That is, maybe I'm not going to jump on the first article. I'm going to try to find an article from the Ukrainians and from Reuters that would go, before, maybe even before the Russians reported their loss. But I couldn't. It was like here, 6 hours after that, boom, Reuters, boom, Ukraine form. What a coincidence. Yeah, okay. Now, make up your own mind. My mind is made. That's not a coincidence. And if it's coincidence, then people who are familiar with arithmetics, you can go and work with probabilities and see how probable that is. Okay, you have mathematical formulas to use and see how probable, possible something like this could happen. The same thing of the ammunition, the same day, difference what? A few hours? You gotta be, and on both sides each. Not five time a year, and no, 1-1. I mean, it's like you would win 5 lotteries in one day, or maybe the same lottery you win it in one day. Anyway, man, this is outrageous, man. I'm not disputing that those guys died or anything, even if that's real. Okay, it's real. Isn't that very, very? I don't know, man. Oh my God, what a coincidence. Okay, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.